Welcome, welcome, welcome. Are you ready? Are you ready? Listen, we're so excited. This wealth building webinar series. My name is Marlon Smith and very excited to be here with you because there's greatness within you. Listen, on behalf of the Black Couples Getaway and TRMC, the Real Money Coach, we say welcome. My goodness, the responses, the feedback, the desire to learn financial literacy, you are in for a treat. And so one of the things that I want you to understand is I want you to think about this. Have you ever asked yourself, if I only knew back then what I know now, how would my life be different? We all have, okay? But listen, you're in the right place at the right time because when it comes to finances and money and wealth, so many of us are not taught that. But the first thing I want to say is I want to recognize you. You know, we've got individuals all over the United States as well as throughout the world who have tuned in. And so I want you to go ahead and type in the chat box, where are you watching from? We always like to see which state represents BCG the most. And so go ahead and type in the chat box. You know, as you know, one of the things that we're doing is these webinar sessions are really basically like a huddle. You know, TRMC, the Real Money Coach, right? So it's like a football analogy, right? And so this is the huddle. And when all of you received your playbook, right? You actually received your playbook, and this is the workbook, and it's what's really powerful. I mean, it's really amazing. And so I want you to understand right now, there it is up on the screen, and it's really great because you can download it. You and your family can go through it because we realize when we come together in these huddles on a weekly basis every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern for the next 8 weeks, I'm telling you, it's amazing. And so already I can see we got Tamika Jenkins on from Atlanta, Georgia. Hello, Tamika. And we got Renee Martin from Palm Springs, California. Grateful to have you here. Okay. We also have Angel Walters from Tampa Bay, Florida. Come on, somebody. All right. And then we have Daryl Williams from Daytona Beach, Florida. Man, I love Florida. Okay. And so right now, Florida's in the lead, y'all. We got two different couples from Florida. Who else is here? All right, Corinne from Charlotte. Nice to have you here, sister. And so again, type in the chat box, where are you watching from? Because we like to see which state represents. Okay, Georgia, Riverdale, Shamika's here. Come on now. And so this is the power of this. We're coming together. And what I want you to understand is that we're going to be learning from each other. We're going to be, I hope you have your notepad. I've got a notepad. I hope you have your notepad and a pen, because the power in this, you have your workbook, right? You have your playbook. But also the power is when we come together and we share information. And so I want you right now to write in your notebook or on your playbook. I want you to write down, what is your why? Why did you enroll in this program? Why are you spending your time? Time is our most precious commodity. And so I see people really, coming in now. So type in the chat box. This is what we're going to do. Why are you here? Right? Okay. We got California. We got Michigan in the house, right? Georgia again, amazing. Another Georgia. I think Georgia's in the lead, y'all. North Carolina, all right now. And so I want you to type in the chat box, what is your why? What is one outcome that you're looking to achieve during these next 8 weeks? If there's one thing that you can learn, one thing that you can grow when it comes to your finances, your wealth, your money, what would that be? Type it in the chat box. Because you see, when you have focus, when there's focus, there's power. And so I want you to type that in the chat box. What is your why? Okay. Oh, Ohio here, right? All right. This is excellent. And so with that, type in the chat box. What is your why? What's one thing that you're hoping to learn? Okay. Retirement strategies. Yes. I'm so excited because that is one of our focus areas. We're dedicating a whole show to that, retirement, right? Because what you do today will dictate where you'll be tomorrow. Okay. Anybody else? Type in the chat box. What do you want to learn? Because again, we want to customize these sessions for you, all right? And so with that being said, as you're typing in the chat box, what is your why? What's one thing? What's one outcome? What's one lesson that you want to learn that's going to improve your family's financial situation? Type that in the chat box, okay? And again, there's no shame. One of the things that you'll find during these next 8 weeks is that my colleague, Tony Jackson, and I, we're very transparent. Right? Look, I'll be the first one to raise my hand. I've made some mistakes when it came to my money. I studied electrical engineering in school. It's not like my parents, sat down around the dinner table and we talked about finances. No, I learned by mistakes. Can you relate to me? Right? And that's why I said, have you ever asked yourself, if I had only known back then what I know now, oh my goodness, my life would be so different. And I'm sure that's the same for you. So go ahead and type in the chat box, what's one outcome? Because you see, what we focus on becomes our reality. So excited. So let me go ahead and bring my colleague up, and we're going to go ahead and get into this conversation. So let's bring up Tony Jackson.
Marlon.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Man, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man.
Here we go, BCG.
Right? That's right. Black Couples Getaway, man.
Listen, I was so excited because I may be one of few people that when the young lady or who it was put Ludington, Michigan, man, I know where Ludington, Michigan is.
Wow.
I'm from Muskegon, Michigan myself. Fruitport, we were in the same conference. Marlon, I ran over him, man.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so happy to be here tonight, man. It is so awesome. Just really looking forward to doing another 8 weeks with BCG.
Yeah.
And just all the revelation and all the things that people will get from this, that they'll share. We get better every time we hear this, because there's people that will share things that's working for them, working for their family or what have you. And we're going to get a chance to hear that. And so it's just going to be awesome. It's just going to be awesome.
And I appreciate that, Tony, because, we have the Michigan, but also I saw somebody from Ohio. And I know you're a big Michigan fan. So, I see you ain't giving no love to the Ohio. That's okay, man. We love you in spite of.
I'm hurt, man. I'm hurt. No Big Ten football.
That's right.
Year. So
That's right.
I'm hurt. I don't know what I'm going to do, man. I got Saturday afternoons are now free.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Well, already, Tony, these individuals, and I'm so excited because, Nico wrote consistently to save and improve my finances. Yeah. Right. And I put the question out. And before I continue, keep that one up. I want to say that the beautiful thing is that, when people are transparent, there's power. Right. And I want all of us to understand there's no shame. I'm the first one to raise my hand. I've made a lot of mistakes when it came to my money. Right. Money has come in and it's evaporated. Yeah. But the thing is, I want these families to understand is based on our previous program, 8-week program for, the Black Couples Getaway group, people have been transformed. But what I found, Tony, is this. The people that get into the game, the people that go through their workbook, their playbook, the people that, interact in these chat, discussions, those are the people that are on the playing field. Those are the ones that really get the most out of this program. See, some people will sit up in the stands as a spectator.
Right.
They don't get the same experience. When you're fully engaged, that's why I say you should have your notepad every time we talk, because there's going to be downloads you receive. And so, Clarice says to create streams of income without being dependent only on a job. We're going to be talking about entrepreneurship, Clarice, and we're going to be talking about investments as well. Okay.
Yeah, Yolande, building generational wealth, man.
Oh my gosh. You know that.
She's singing out of the same hymn book, as they say, man.
She's
driving down our street. So
right.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we just real quick just give a real overview of the next 8 weeks, what we're going to be covering, and so that people can get an idea of what exactly is going to happen this 8 weeks. And so really for week number 1, tonight, we're starting with financial psychology in terms of we're dealing with the mindset and the psychology behind money, because there's a certain psychology and we're going to unpack that. And then week 2, which is going to be August 18th, we're going to move into budgeting, spending plan. We're going to move into how to make a budget, how to automate your budget, and the basics behind budget. And then in week 3, we're going to move to loans and debt in terms of what is good debt, what is bad debt, and then ultimately how to get out of debt. And we're going to cover the 2 primary methods of getting out of debt. And then week 4, which now we're at September, right? September 1st, we're going to talk about your credit profile, what makes up your credit, how to get your credit fixed, because your credit might be like mine. It might have been tore up from the floor up, but we're going to get it fixed, right?
Right.
And we're going to talk about credit. We're going to get an understanding of that. And really, those are our defensive postures, right? Those are things in terms of how do we protect, and how do we protect what we have, protect our position, so to speak. And then we kind of transition in week 5. we began to transition into what we call our offensive financial set, right? So now we're going to talk about risk management and insurance. How do I manage my risk? How do I manage insurance? How do I use it for my benefit so that it can help me create generational wealth? And then we're going to talk about the retirement. What is your retirement situation and what type of things can we do about it to seal your retirement? And then we move into other investments, including real estate, talking about real estate itself and using real estate as really a wealth building tool. And so as we're talking about generational wealth, being able to pass wealth down from one generation to others. And then Marlon, what we have is entrepreneurship, right?
Right.
That is one of our favorite to do is entrepreneurship and getting people to be thinking about entrepreneurship, being a business owner. As we've been talking about on our live town hall for the last 5 weeks, we've been talking about the business owner's mindset.
Right.
And then here's the surprise, is that we will have a capstone course. We're going to have a capstone course at the end. It's going to pull it all together and allow you to bring all those 8 weeks together. And we're just going to really have a great time with that. So we're looking forward to it. And so that's what's on slate for the next 8 weeks.
Wow. Thank you, Tony. And, I think the beautiful thing about this, as you can see, it's very laid out. And, for those that, talk about, I want to learn about retirement strategies, how to save, I want to learn how to, create multiple streams of income, how to build generational wealth. That's what we're going to be focusing on. So you're in the right place. And one of the things I want to say, some of you right now might say, well, who are you guys? Who are you, right? And, my name is Marlon Smith, and both Tony and I are CFEI, Certified Financial Education Instructors. Okay. And so we've got, and this curriculum that we're actually sharing is an accredited curriculum, 75 modules being taught in schools all the way from kindergarten up to, retire age. And so the beautiful thing is that, this is not just some, pie in the sky. This has really been well thought out, laid out. And so, and Tony's got 23 years of success in financial services. And for me, I'm a wealth mastery presenter and feel very blessed. I've spoken in 45 states, 18 countries. And so what I want you to understand is that Tony and I, we connected with JD and Shelly, and we said, look, we want to be a blessing to BCG. I've spoken at BCG events in the Caribbean as well as at Gatlinburg. And many of you I probably know, and we've had a good time. But when COVID-19 hit, we understood that things were turned upside down. And there's a lot of stress. And so we talked to JD and Shelly, and they said, man, let's do this. Let's make this available, to our BCG family, because people are hurting. And some people, there's uncertainty and there's anxiety. And so one of the things I want to do is I want to share with you how to get the most out of this. And this is the course flow that we'll be putting up on the screen. Well, basically, you have your course workbook, the Real Money Coach Playbook. And on Tuesdays, as Tony said, and we just went through the 8-week schedule, and we've got a capstone, a bonus session. But this is the live webinar every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Okay. And then after this, we will send you the recap video or recap email, I should say, with the video recording as well as the module assignment. So we'll email that out to you. And we're asking you to email your completed assignment to us at info@therealmoneycoach, because that's the power. That is the power of this. You're not alone. We all need a coach. We all need some accountability, right? And so that's what we're going to do. We're on this journey. We're going to be sharing information. So just like tonight, we're going to share information. You've got your playbook, right? And then what's going to happen is, from that, and there might be a session that you don't make. So we're sending out the recording every time after the actual live webinar takes place. So you can also review it. You can share with your family, your friends, because that's what it's about. It's about each one of us teaching, each one of us connecting with others. So I see we've got some more people. We got Huntsville, Alabama that's joined us. We got Carrollton, Texas, right? And also we've got Dayton, Ohio. Okay, so grateful that you guys are here. And for those of you who haven't posted where you're watching from, go ahead and post it in. But I want to ask you this. When you pass away, because someone had talked about, the importance of legacy wealth. And so the question is, when you do pass away, because I got to let you in on a secret, none of us are getting out of this life alive. Are you with me? And so my question is, are you going to leave bills or benefits? And so we're going to show a quick video, and this is going to be really powerful. So I want you to really watch the video, because you're going to see some things and you're going to hear different perspectives. And then we're going to open up for a dialogue, and we want to hear from you based on this video. Okay. And I see, man, look at all the people that are coming back in. Okay. Wow. No, you don't have to register each week. If you register it once, you are good to go. We got your email. We'll be sending you out the recap video, recap email, and also the assignment. So you'll be getting an assignment. But look at all these other people that have joined us. So glad you're here. And so again, we're going to tally up to see which state has the most people from that state attending. But right now, I want you to direct your attention, and we have a very quick, I think it's less than 2 minutes. I want you to watch this video and really listen, because again, financial psychology, your mindset, and we're going to get into it right now. So let's watch this video, and then we're going to come back, and we want to hear from you. What do you think about this video?
If you die right now, would you leave bills or benefits?
I'm going to leave behind benefits.
Bills? Well, I'll leave both, benefits and bills.
Benefits.
And bills.
I leave shoes, jewelry.
Got a little something saved. I got an insurance policy, but I got some bills too.
That's a funny question.
As a child, my family did not teach me about money because we didn't really have a lot of money growing up.
So we didn't realize we were being tricked to be a consumer. Until this day, some of us are still consumers because we're still trying to be fresh.
Louis Vuitton don't want black folks in their clothes. Gucci don't want black folks in their clothes. But we kill ourselves to go give the people that hate us the most our money.
Just kind of living, and we're doing it and going on, but not really taking close inventory of what we're spending.
And these kids are running around the internet beating each other up for world stuff. You got all this other stuff they got to worry about, but they don't sit down and say, this is $1, this is a quarter, this is a dime, this is a nickel. And that's what I think the issue is.
So if I don't know myself, you give me $1 billion, I'll act like I don't know who I am. I'm gonna be in the strip club and throwing it away.
Everybody on Instagram appears rich, particularly to the rest of the world.
Black people, we are the single richest African community on the face of the globe. And it makes absolutely no sense that we have poverty.
Living in America, I've witnessed very small portions of land and wealth be transferred from one generation to the next. With $1.1 trillion in buying power, what's prohibiting our team from pooling our talents and winning in society?
We've been taught the wrong things about money. We've been taught that money is a result rather than what it really is a tool.
And see, the problem is we get paid on Friday, get drunk on Saturday, go to church on Sunday, and then go back to work on Monday.
What can we do to ensure that we're leaving a legacy for our children?
Make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people that have the information and the knowledge of what you need in order to grow to the next level and to take your financial literacy to the next level.
We need to make sure that you do have something so your children don't have to start at ground zero again when you pass away, or even negative from having to put you in the ground.
That's right.
Wow. Tony, what do you think, man? I mean, that was, and I want to hear from folks. I mean, but what do you think, man?
Yeah, every time we watch that, it's so revealing. Mm-hmm. And what we love to do is have everyone in the comments, in the chat box, put what emotions that brought up for you when you watch that. Mm. When they say things like everyone on social media appears to be rich, or you get paid on Friday, right? You go out party on Saturday, church on Sunday, and then Monday you hit reset and you do it all over again. What type of emotions, what type of things, how does that make you feel when you see that and you see, different things? Marlon, like the guy said it, hey, if I had the money, I'd be in the strip club, and all those types of things. So unpack that. I mean, what does that? How does that make you feel when you see that? And what does it say about where we are?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Tony, for me, the self-love, I think, one of the things that, we have been conditioned, to think that what you wear, what you drive is your value, right? And so then, it really feeds over into consumerism. But I've come to find out, man, when you know who you are and you understand the greatness that's within you, man, life takes on new meaning. And I mean, look at some of these, comments. I mean, right? Very thought-provoking. I feel hopeful that we as a people can do much better. Thank you so much. I agree.
Absolutely.
Because we're going to talk about financial psychology tonight, because everything we do is based on our thoughts, our mindset, right? Our conditioning, right? And so, and look at this, sad about our situation as a whole, right? But Nico, the beautiful thing is when we each say, you know what, I'm going to make a change, and then I'm going to share with my circle of influence to make a change, right? Because a lot of times, really, Tony, most people are just sleepwalking, not really conscious.
Absolutely. And here's what Shelley said. She said it's a harsh reality. And then she said it's truth. And so we got to deal with the truth, man. We got to deal with the psychology of it, the mindset of it. We got to deal with the truth. And unless we deal with the truth, we really can't move beyond. Right?
Sure.
That's why we open this 8 weeks talking about financial psychology, because we want to deal with the truth. We want to deal with some of those things that we need to unpack about our past that have developed our mindset when it comes to money.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I love, the fact that Clarissa said undervalued, right? I mean, if you don't really understand the value you bring, right? I mean, and again, that's the thing, we're being programmed, right? I mean, the media, the advertising, right? If you drive this car, if you look this certain way, then you're beautiful, then you're successful, right? And I love that, undervalued, because I want you to understand every time I look myself in the mirror after I brush my teeth, and I give myself some positive recognition. Why? Because I realize this is the greatest computer on the face of this earth. I studied electrical engineering in school. I could break a computer down. I could put it back together. I worked for IBM. I worked for Hewlett Packard as a systems engineer. I know 7 different programming languages, but do you understand the greatest computer is right here? But it's all in what you program the computer to do, Tony. If only garbage comes into your computer as the input, only garbage can come out. So every morning, Tony, after I brush my teeth, every evening after I brush my teeth, and I say my prayers, I look myself in the mirror and I give myself some positive recognition. I speak right into my eyes, and I'm speaking, man. There's greatness within you. You're a blessing, So that to me, because I mean, that was so powerful, and it really gets you thinking generationally. That's what James said. Yeah.
Marlon, it's so funny, man, because when you're talking about breaking down a computer, I don't know why, man. I can just see you with the old Radio Shack. You remember the Radio Shack?
Right.
Putting that thing down, putting that right.
That's right. Yeah.
But listen, here's the fact, though. Here's the thing, and we can pull this up, is that money affects much more than your bank account.
Right.
You got to understand that there's emotions involved, right? There's this sense of well-being that's there, and even your overall mood, right? So your mood is affected by it. And then ultimately, it can even impact your health. And for you guys who have downloaded the workbook, if you haven't gotten the workbook, make sure you do this. This all is starting on page 2, where we're just talking about the different parts of our life that that money, the lack of money, right, can affect. You could, if you allow it to, money can have you up one day and down the next, right? It could affect your self-confidence. It could affect your sense of self well-being and safety and overall mood. Does your mood change based on what your bank account looks like? What about your health? Because we know that stress can impact your health, certainly your eating habits and all those types of things. All of those things can impact your life, other than just the numbers that happen to be on your bank statement.
That's right.
And so it's very important that we understand this whole concept and the emotional impact of money. And Marlon, you can unpack, Maslow's hierarchy of needs and as it relates to what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, psychologist Abraham Maslow in 1943 came up with this theory, all right, the hierarchy of needs, and basically starting at the base, and this is also in page 4 of your workbook. See, everything that we're presenting is in your workbook, and that's where the real magic happens. But basically, he says, on the very bottom is your physiological needs. I'm talking about, shelter, clothing, food, right? So that's on the very bottom, just to survive, right? And then from there, you move up. The next tier is safety and security, okay? And what we're talking about there is basically, the desire for safety and security, to feel safe, to have security, right? And so that's very important. So after, again, the real physiological, right, that base, then safety and security. The next is love and belonging. So what we're talking about there is, you feeling, part of a community. You feeling as though, there's appreciation for you. You're part of the BCG. And over these 8 weeks, you're going to feel a connection with each other. You're going to see some of the same names typing in the chat box, right? And then, as Tony said, when we have our, our celebration, that's when you're going to be able to see each other, right? It's going to be phenomenal. But again, feeling like you're not alone. I think that's really powerful, right? When you feel connected. And right now, COVID-19 has really exposed a lot of people who, they were kind of, the stay-at-home orders. And, as we know, there's been a lot of challenges because, people, again, just being on a autopilot, not really thinking, they go to work, they go to the gym, right? But now you're at home, right? And for those that are single or, living by themselves, man, they got to, deal with themselves. And then others, if you don't have a, real healthy relationship at home, oh my goodness. So again, looking at this from a standpoint of the hierarchy of needs. And then from there, we talk about esteem needs. And that's really where, you're getting respect, you feel appreciated, right? You're doing things, you're being complimented on who you are and what you're doing, and you feel good, right? Because again, I believe on the outside is not as important as what happens on the inside. Because the last tier is self-actualization. And that's where basically you're living with purpose. You see, I believe each one of us was born on purpose. And so once you identify that, but the thing is that you have to take time to slow down, get off the rat race, right? And so I just wanted, before we move on, I do want to say, wow, this is so good. One of the things that I really see is, Shelley had written down, it's sad, talking about that video. She said, our people perish for lack of knowledge. It's time we do better. And that's why you're here right now. You're here right now because, again, this is where we come together. If I knew better, I'd do better. Right, Tony? I mean, you made mistakes. I mean, you're a financial, you're one of the best, man. 23 years of success. I mean, you help families, you help entrepreneurs, you help retirees, you help business owners and businesses. But yet you yourself, and you have an accounting degree. I mean, you got a scholarship to go to school for accounting. You could have gone and played football, but you chose to go accounting. But yet you have made some mistakes with finances. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Without a doubt. It's been a learning process because see, what happens so often is in formal education, they teach us, let's take accounting, for example.
Okay.
They teach us credits and debits, right? They teach us add, subtract, and divide, right? I mean, they teach you how to count the money, but no one ever teaches you about the psychology behind money. No one teaches you about the personal. I mean, this stuff we need to be teaching at the kitchen table.
Yes.
We need to be teaching it in high school and junior high, and even as small as my grandson Cam, 5 years old. We got to start teaching them about money and how to utilize money in the correct way, and having a healthy viewpoint of money, because one of the things I want to talk about is just this wheel of emotions, right?
Okay, yeah.
What can happen is that there could be a whole lot of emotions that come up due to our finances. And what this wheel really represents is this: there's a degrees of emotion. And if we take anger, for example, or we take annoyance, so something starts on the outside of the wheel as annoyance, right? So I'm annoyed, right? I'm annoyed by this. And that I go from being annoyed to being anger, to getting angry. And then when I get to the inner circle, now I'm in a rage. And understanding that there is a range of emotions that we all can go through, when it comes to money.
Right.
When it comes to anything in our life, really, but especially when it comes to money. And that has a tremendous impact. And then it just talks about 8 primary emotions. And I really want everyone to go back and study this on page 6 of the workbook. And if you haven't gotten the workbook, you got to email us at info@realmoneycoach so that you make sure that you have it. But you have joy. You got joy versus sadness, right? Joy is feeling happy, feeling glad. Sadness is, feeling sad, or maybe depression, grief, those types of things. And then we move right down the list: trust versus disgust, fear versus anger, anticipation versus surprise. And all of those, all 8 of those emotions have its own degree on the circle, on the wheel. And so what we have to realize is that we can go through a number of different emotions, even in a given day, or a given hour, as it relates to our finances.
Right.
And then when we realize that, then now we can start to deal with it.
Right.
And one of the things, Marlon, that you like to talk about is the pain versus the pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, man, and first of all, I think what's really coming up for me as we're talking, Tony, is the value of being conscious. I really want, financial psychology, that's a big term, right? I don't know, what's that, 5 syllables, right? Psychology, right? And the thing is, though, I want us to really understand this for all of our viewers, is to really think about just being conscious. I mean, that's really what it's coming down to, because I believe sometimes we go on autopilot. And we just do things, because we just do them, right? But to be conscious and make a decision. So one of the things, as Tony was talking about, the wheel of emotions, when you are doing things, are you on autopilot or are you conscious? So here's the question. I want to pose this to everybody. When you're buying things, do you think you have a tendency to buy things to avoid pain or to gain pleasure? Please just type in the chat box. Do you avoid pain or to gain pleasure? I want to see what you say. And the reason being is because here's what, we are wired to avoid pain and to gain pleasure. I mean, that's, we are conditioned, right, to move away from pain and towards pleasure. So something that, you may say, wow, I'm going to buy things that bring me pleasure, right? Oh, I want to buy, ice cream. Okay, that's going to make me feel good, right? Or I might say, wow, I want to buy that Lamborghini, right? Because, I'm going to feel like I'm the man. I'm rocking and rolling. People are going to like, oh, look at you. Wow, you're living a dream, right? And, I'm in debt. You know what I'm saying? But, but hey, that pleasure of, man, people look at me. Whoa, ho, ho, right? And that's what we saw in that video. All right. But the other thing is to avoid pain, right? I might say, you know what? I don't want to ever, feel like my family's going to be left kicked out if I was to die. So let me go ahead and get insurance. Okay, yeah, I don't like paying for it, right? I'm alive, I'm healthy, but I have to have health insurance. Yeah, I got to get life insurance, right? I mean, did you know? I mean, we'll get into that, but I mean, so many people, the number one reason for filing bankruptcy and foreclosures is unpaid medical bills, and we'll talk more about that. But you see, that's, to me, again, being conscious. And the other thing I want you to write down, this is not in your book, but write it down: delayed gratification. Delayed gratification. See, when you have a vision, when, we talk about pain, pleasure, and I believe, we'll do really more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure, right? I mean, a lot of times, but sometimes we get it flipped, because again, our desire and that Maslow hierarchy, right? The need for esteem. Remember how high that was? For people to respect you, for people to say, oh, look at you. And that's why we have this illusion of keeping up with the Joneses. right? Because I mean, again, who are the Joneses? Do you know the Joneses? Okay. So my point is that I love this. People say pleasure, 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 both, pleasure, 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 right? I say both. It depends on the circumstances, right? The gain pleasure, joy. So again, the thing is you have to ask yourself, right? Delayed gratification. Okay, yeah, I can buy this now. I can buy these new shoes. Okay, ladies. Okay, I'm not stereotyping, but I'm just saying. You know, I know I have a lot of female friends, right? I can buy these shoes, right? Or I can say, you know what? Do I really need, or brothers, do I need, that new outfit, right? Do I need that Armani suit? Okay, right? Or I can say, you know what? Instead of buying that now, delayed gratification, let me go ahead and invest for my future, right? It's not very sizzling. It's not very, but one thing COVID-19 showed us is how vulnerable we are, not just the health pandemic, but economically. Economically, the Wall Street Journal says that 78% of all Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. 78% of all Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, regardless of income. Let that sink in. Almost 80%, almost 8 out of 10 people are living paycheck to paycheck. And again, there's no judgment because again, we weren't taught this, but now that you know, now that you're going through this workbook, right? Because I mean, this is pain and pleasure. This is on page 8, right? So pain and pleasure. You have the opportunity. This workbook is yours. And so you have the opportunity to go through it and do the exercises. That's the power of this. So Tony, let's talk now, man, about how do we even learn lessons about money? I know you really are big on this.
Well, you were talking about that, man. You're talking about where did you learn about money? And what I'd like to do is I'd like to have everyone put in the chat box, where did you learn about money? What's your first recall about money? Right? I love, she said, I was reading this, living from paycheck to the day after the paycheck, right? Right. From paycheck to Monday, right? But I want to unpack this. Where did you learn about money? What's your first recollection of money? And while you guys are putting some of that in terms of where you learned about money, your first thoughts of money, your first memory of money, who is the person that taught you about money, either by what they did or by what they said or why they watched you? And I remember when I was growing up, I remember I would come home and my dad would get off work, right? My dad worked in a factory in Muskegon, Michigan. He'd get off work and he'd come home. Back then they got an actual check on Friday. He'd stop at the bank, cash the check, bring home and give the money to my mom to take care of all the bills. And that's my first memory of money, right? And so where did you learn about money? And what were those lessons? And see, we got a lot of people saying my parents, my family. Someone even said my school. Here, somebody's getting a shout out to Norfolk State University, friends, my first job at age 16, listen to parents talk about money. And so oftentimes, I think that's the other thing is that we as parents we try to hide the struggle from our kids, right? Someone said, my dad, he paid me for small chores around the house. If I didn't do them, I didn't get my money, all right? He loved it, Karen. And so where did you learn about money? And we want to talk about this concept that we call a more knowledgeable other. And so what we realize is this, and as people are putting all these different answers in, is that there is a variety of people that end up influencing our thoughts, our minds, our knowledge of money. And if we look at it, it could be from our parents to peers to our close associates, our friends. It could be professionals. It could even be salespeople, friends, teachers. And so there's a whole lot of things that happen in our life that end up influencing our money, our personal money habits. We like them to be more knowledgeable others, but sometimes they're really not. Sometimes they're not really knowledgeable others, but yet they still influence this. And so understanding the importance of this, if we understand where our money mindset, where it developed, how it developed, whether good or bad, where did it come from? Because if we don't unpack that, then we won't be able to move beyond it. It'll always be self-sabotaging, right? Because how many of you heard this? Money don't grow on, somebody finished that in the chat box for me, right? Money don't grow on this. There are children starving in where, right? And so we've heard all these things that money doesn't grow on trees. There's children starving in Africa. You better eat all that food, and we have all these things that come up and they shape our mindset when it comes to money. And so, does money grow on trees? Well, guess what? They take paper, right? They take paper to make money. Paper comes from wood. So maybe money really does grow on trees, right? But the point is, all those things shape our attitudes towards money. And we have to begin to unpack that so that we can see where we are, where those habits, where those attitudes develop, so that we can move on. And so, Marlon, I think that's so important, just to be thinking about that for each of us in terms of how those things happen. And what about the influences that we have today?
Yeah, I mean, this is real talk. I mean, I talked about the Joneses, right? And so, and I really appreciate, many of you have been very transparent. I've been watching the chat, and many of you have said, that you want to do things so that the next generation, your children, your grandchildren, that, they are set. And that's one of the things we're going to be talking about, legacy wealth, right? Because again, there's things that we can do to position ourselves. You look at the Rockefellers. See, Tony and I are studying success, and because success leaves footprints. And I love what Aretha Thomas said. She said, my mom, because she was a hustler at heart, but really not until I got grown and just decided that I was going to do better and make my future better and leave something for my children and grandchildren. And I want to say thank you, Aretha. And there's others that have talked about, the fact that, I want to go ahead and be a change agent for my kids, and my grandkids. So I want to, first of all, commend you. And then I know some of us are watching and you're saying, man, I'm just trying to survive, man, and that's real talk. And I want to say thank you, because you're in the right place. One of the things that with us, the Real Money Coach, we are on, this is our ministry. This is part of a movement. Because if we knew better, we'd do better. I used to live in South Africa, and I saw apartheid up and close, and I also saw the power of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a Zulu word that means I am because we are. I am because we are. And so I want you to understand that we're in this together. There's no judgment. I'm the first one to raise my hand. I've made mistakes when it came to my money. But the thing is, the past is gone. You can't change the past. And the future is always out there. All you have is this moment right here and now. That's why they call it present, because it's a gift. And you heard in the video, one of the ladies said, yeah, on Instagram, on Facebook, everybody looks rich. What's appalling is that some people will take a picture of themselves, and before putting it up on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, Snapchat or whatever those, different social media outlets are, they will actually go in and docker up the picture. It's crazy. But again, when you know who you are, when you feel good in you, that's why I do the mirror exercise, look myself in the mirror and give myself some positive recognition. Because yes, social media, right? Your peers, your friends, we have all these voices on the outside. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. But what I'm saying is, regardless of what's on the outside, what truly matters is what's on the inside. And so just, it's almost like, who is the Simon? Let's be honest. In your life, who is influencing you the most? And you can write, is it social media? Is it combination? Is it church? Is it your friends? Is it your family? When it comes to, your money decisions, right? I know we learned about, who, growing up, and a lot of us said our parents, and you gave examples, but right now, who do you feel like you have to impress? Do you have to keep up with the Joneses? I mean, you can say, just write in the chat box. I know I'm going deep. I'm putting you out there, right? But again, you're not alone. I know for a while, for me, I was making decisions to be accepted, right? To have my peers say, oh man, you've made it. And then I read a book called The Millionaire Next Door. And it talked about how this researcher went and really researched true millionaires, true wealth. And man, 100% of the time, true millionaires, true wealth, those individuals are living below their means. They're living below their means. And I want Tony to come up, and Tony loves to quote that, our one of our dear friends, Dr. George Fraser, quotes all the time about the paper bags. And so, Tony, I want you to quote it, man, because you quote it so well, brother.
Well, actually, I wasn't thinking so much about the paper bag, but the whole thing, what Dr. Fraser uses for paper bag, he says, I'd rather have a paper bag with $5,000 in it than to have a Louis Vuitton bag with $100 in it, right?
Wow.
And so that's so true. But what I was thinking about, man, is that we have, some of us, many of us have what we call status anxiety. And so we want to look the part. We want to look like we're winning. We want to look like we're balling. We want to look like it. But the truth of the matter is, behind closed doors, that ain't really what's going on.
Right.
And so our objective is to not look like we're winning, but to really be winning, right? Not to look the part, but to be the part. Yeah. And we hear that, what, you got to fake it until you make it. No. Stop faking it. Truly make it.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Rich people stay rich by acting like they're poor.
Wow.
Poor people stay poor by acting like they're rich.
Woo! Come on, man. Repeat that one more time. Y'all need to write that down. That's powerful.
So rich people, man, I'm talking really rich people. I'm talking about that they don't go out and spend a lot of money on frivolous things. Right? I mean, they're not balling. I remember my wife and I were coming back from Atlanta, right? And we roll up to a QT, and this guy pulls up, man, with a Bentley. I mean, he's stunting, right? He's parked sideways in front of the gas station, gets out, walking in, right? And so my thing about it is, we said to ourselves, he ain't got no money. Because, rich people don't stunt like that. You don't even know they got money. They don't want you to know they got money.
Right.
They don't want you breaking in their house, right? They're pretending like they don't have anything.
Yeah.
But poor people, we gotta pretend like, and it's our psyche, right? It's that status anxiety. I want my friends to think that I'm balling, right? And so that I'm balling on a budget, right? And so now we have to change that mentality.
Yeah.
Right?
Man, that's real talk, Tony, man. Thank you for that. I mean, stories are so powerful, man. I got a couple of stories too, but just because of time. But I want to now shift it, and because I feel like there's a connection with this group of viewers, man. I feel like people are being very transparent. So I want to hear from you. I want you to write in the chat box. What do you do? What's one of your best practices, right? Because again, this is a community, right? And so what's one thing that you do? What's one of your best practices when it comes to financial management, right? Because again, we can all, we all want to be accepted. We all, right? I mean, that's the hierarchy. But what are you doing? Write in the chat box, because we can learn from each other. What's one of your best practices? Or if you have more, what are some things that you do so that you can create that wealth and have your money working for you, right? Just write it down. Please write that down.
Well, a couple of things, Marlon. Let's kind of share some of the things that we heard people do, and that maybe we practice ourselves. And one is the 24-hour rule, right? If you see something you want to buy, wait 24 hours and see if you still want it.
That's right.
You know, and I love this, man. Ms. Thompson said tithe, right? And someone earlier talked about pay God first, right?
That's right.
And it made me think about the book that you and I love so much is The Richest Man in Babylon, right?
That's right.
About paying yourself and giving. And as Christians and believers, we give in terms of our tithes and offerings and that type of thing. But to give, to pay yourself, to invest. So it says give 10% away, right? Invest 10%, 10% to reduce your debt, and then live off of 70, right? And so that's the premises of that book, and it's so important. So you know, and someone else, Andrea said that she does the 24-hour rule, right? And so then you could even take a picture, right? Take a picture of the item. You can post it on your refrigerator. You can look at it, and then I love what a lot of people are saying here, Marlon. They're talking about budgeting, and you know that's going to be our topic next week. We're going to get into budgeting and how to budget. And then and here Tamika says, I make sure I invest in my daughter, and then I pay myself, pay my bills on time, sleep on purchases. You know, 10% of the check I save. Those are all great things, great habits. And thank you all so much for sharing those.
Yes.
But how do, you know, I love what some people are saying, to get away from what? Compulsive spending.
That's right. That's right. And I think the other thing, one thing that we also learned during our last class, and I want to share this with everybody, because research studies have proven, and I'll, you know, next week I'll have it, but because we're just talking, I just felt led to open this up, is the fact that a credit card, you'll spend more money on a credit card than you will with cash. And during our last class, people were saying how when they shift from using a credit card to paying with actual cash or their debit card, they saw that it checked them. Because when you pull out a plastic card, you know, a credit card, it's almost like monopoly money, right? Oh yeah, just charge it. And then, you know, then you have buyer's remorse when that bill comes, right? And so that's powerful. That's another thing I just wanted to add. And then, and the third thing that came up is delayed gratification. You know, I took economics in school, and I remember, I think it's margin utility. Basically, there's an opportunity cost when you spend something on one thing that costs you from spending it on something else. And so again, it's just kind of really weighing it. But, you know, as Tony said, we're going to get into budgeting next week. And so this has been great. And so, you know, I mean, you know, I just want to kind of look at this, putting money in a 401, taking advantage of the low stock prices before we go out and spend on material things. Thank you, right? I feel this pandemic has given us a great opportunity to gain wealth. Wow, through buying stocks, right? And so, I mean, this is really good. So you know, again, this is the kind of, and again, that's why this book, you know, I mean, this book is going to be so powerful. So, because again, we come together for these huddles every Tuesday, but you, by going through the book, and you're going to receive the recap video, and then you'll have the activity assignment, and we want you to email your assignment to info@therealmoneycoach, so we can give you some feedback, so we can, you know, celebrate with you, right? On this 8-week journey, let us just go ahead, let's work together. Let's take off the mask and be real. Because here's the thing, when there's transparency, when you're real, there's power. And it's time for us all. Like I said, I've said this 4 times tonight. I raise my hand first to say I've made mistakes. And once I say it, it's like, it's freeing, it's liberating. Like, yo, okay, yeah, I've made mistakes, but today is a new day. And so that's what we want for you. And so I'm excited. I mean, I'm looking at all this, you know, this is one of Dave Ramsey's major strategies, right? You have to feel the money versus using a credit card or a debit card. He's right. Plastic, I mean, it just, you know, it's like monopoly. But when you see that cash go out, and, you know, Dave Ramsey talks about the envelope system as well, right? You know, putting cash in different envelopes for different categories of your budget. And once the money's gone, it's gone. So we'll talk more about that. So Tony, what do you think, man? Has this been a good class?
And it's been an excellent class, man. It's been excellent just to talk about the things. Here's the thing, is we've all made mistakes.
Sure.
But the key is, have we learned from those mistakes?
Right.
You know, what do they say? You know, fool me once,
Right.
Shame on you. You fooled me twice. Shame on you.
Yep.
Right. So have we learned from our mistakes? Have we learned from those things? Or are we making the same mistakes habitually over and over and over again?
That's right.
And so I think that's a big part of it. And what we really want everyone to do is to really just reflect and meditate. And we're going to send you an activity book where you're going to do some work on Maslow's, and you're going to do some work on the more knowledgeable other and that type of thing. You're going to unpack that a little bit. We didn't get to all the slides, but that's okay. But what we want you to do is look at the activity sheets, read the workbook, download it, and really start to think about your mindset when it comes to money.
Right.
And this is not it's not a one-time deal, right? It's something that's continuous. It's something that we have to constantly work on, because we can easily fall back into our old, we can default, right? We can go back to our default. We can go back. I remember, and I told this story in one of our other classes, and I used to be in my office, man, and it wasn't a great day or whatever, and I'm on my way home, and to make myself feel better, I would stop at Walmart and buy something for the kids. Now, in my mind, I justify that, right? In my mind, I justify that because I wasn't buying something for myself. I was buying something for someone else, but it made me feel good, right? And then there's other things. There's habits, man. And you haven't heard me tell the story, man, but I even lottery, right? And we talk a little bit about financial psychology, wants versus needs, and we know most lottery earners, 70% of them end up broke in a couple years. And I can remember, man, I would be sitting in when Lisa and I first got married, 28 years ago, I'd sit in my apartment, man, and I had an internal clock. I knew what time I needed to go and rush to the store and put my lottery numbers in.
Wow.
Right? And it was like, ding. And I had to go.
Wow.
And I would tell myself, if I win this money, this is what I'll do. But the reality is my mindset wasn't where it needed to be.
Sure.
And I'm not criticizing anyone that plays lottery. No, I'm not saying that. Support the education system in your state. I'm not criticizing, but I'm saying my mindset wasn't healthy when it came to it.
Got it.
And so each person, each individual is different. And so he really wants you to just go back and do some reflecting on where you learned about money and what do you want to do different?
That's it.
So our more knowledgeable other exercise isn't just about those who've done better, but we also learn from others' mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And so go back and replay some of that.
Yeah.
And write it down. You're big on journaling.
Yeah. So yeah, man, I think that's the power. And I wanted to say again, thank you to everybody. As you can see, Tony and I are very passionate about this. And again, the real work begins when you go through your workbook. I mean, that's why we created it. And for me and Tony, one of the things that we're really committed to is each one of us, really stepping up. And and then somebody said, "Get out of her house, Tony." Right? Right? I don't know if it was the lottery tickets or buying the gifts for the kids, right? But the point is that our time is now. So what I like for you to do, we're about to wrap up, but I want you to type in the chat box. What's one of your and Jamila, where you can get the workbook? Send an email to info@therealmoneycoach.com. We had it sent out, but if you didn't get it for whatever reason, just send an email to info@therealmoneycoach.com, and we'll get you your workbook. Okay.
And guys, check your spam, check your junk mail too, because we did send email notices out. I know most of you probably got it because you're here, but just make sure you spread the word. But yeah, check your inbox, because we will be sending out weekly updates, as Marlon said earlier. It'll have the activity sheet. It'll have a recap. It'll have a link to the videos that we show and all that stuff. So make sure you do that.
Excellent. And if there's other family members and friends that you want to join us, I mean, this is week 1, have them send an email to info@therealmoneycoach.com and we can add them. They can get the, the video recap as well as the activity sheet. And thank you, S. Luke, great talk. Thank you. But I'd like for you to type in the chat box right now, what's one of your takeaways? See, we're not doing this just to rah. We're talking about what's one action item, what's one change habit, what's one conscious decision you're going to make moving forward. We talked a lot tonight, but what's one thing, what's one of the lessons, what's one of your breakthroughs that you learned that you're taking away? Just type into the chat box, because we love to see, where you are. What's one of your commitments? What's one of your ahas from tonight's session? And as you're typing into the chat box, I'm going to go ahead and just share the next steps. Again, as I said before, you're going to actually get a recap email, right? And also we're encouraging you to go back through, this is financial psychology. So the Real Money Coach playbook, you can go back through that and really, just dive in. You're going to be able to watch the video from tonight, take notes. I would encourage you have your playbook, but also you have a notebook. And you just take notes. And what a great thing. This could be a family activity as well, where you and your family can get together and you can, go through this, have your kids get involved, have your friends. We have some people that they call it like a watch party, where they all tune in from different houses and then they have a discussion, a Zoom call afterwards. I mean, get creative with this, because again, this is how we change the community. Each one teach one, each one reach one. And so with that, you'll get the recap email with the video recording, as well as the activity assignment. And what we're inviting you to do is go ahead and email your completed assignment to us at info@therealmoneycoach.com. And then we'll be back next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to be talking about budget. And so I'm really excited. And I want to say thank you. Let's just take a look and see what people have said as far as, some of the breakthroughs that they've had. So I see Adria. Oh man, they're going back so fast. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to catch up. Adria said, going back to creating a budget, right? Nico said, I'm going to wait 24 hours before spending. Ladi said, well, I'll be leaving bills or will I be leaving bills or benefits, right? That's a great question. Thank you. Nicole said the 24-hour rule, right? Shelly said, sticking to my budget. James said 24-hour rule. Oh, that's awesome. S. Luke said, we'll commit to delayed gratification when making purchases. Awesome. That's powerful. I promise you. Priscilla said delayed gratification, 24-hour rule. Stephanie said delay the pleasure. There you go. Clarice said avoid emotional spending and create a budget. We're going to be talking about budget next week. You're in the right place at the right time. Chad said better money management. Awesome. Renee said delayed gratification. Choose to invest instead of spending on something right now. Powerful, right? Angel said sleep on purchases and stick to a budget. Jamelia said take away 24-hour buying. Michelle said delayed gratification. Tamika said stick to a budget and not buy on impulse. Awesome. Yolanda said we'll try the 24-hour rule. Thanks. Okay, don't try it. Make it happen, Yolanda, right? So I am Marlon Smith, and on behalf of the Real Money Coach, we say thank you. Time is our most precious commodity. And so we hope that you've enjoyed tonight. On behalf of the Real Money Coach and in partnership with my colleague Tony Jackson and Chris Jackson, we are very appreciative. And as we move on, you have the workbook, you'll get the follow-up recap email. If there's other people in your family, your friends that you want to join us on this journey, have them send an email, info@therealmoneycoach. We love to have them join us. And it's really beautiful when you can do it with others too. That way you're growing together, accountability. This can transform your family. This can transform your family on generational, right? Because now, your brother, your sister, your aunts, your uncles, your younger nieces, nephews, they can all be tuning in. And then y'all can have a dialogue, a family Zoom meeting, talking about what you're learning. That's transformation. And so on behalf of the Real Money Coach, remember this: a vision without action is just a dream. A lot of action without a vision is merely a passing of time. But a vision with action can change the world. Remember, there's greatness within you. Stay blessed.